Welcome to Focus on the Candidates. I'm Cynthia Pooler. My guest today is Leo Zacky, and Leo is running for governor in this state of California. So, Leo, I wanted to contact you to talk to you about redistricting. So, can you give me an overview of what you've seen and what's not being reported?
Well, a lot of people are confused as to what's going on with this whole gerrymandering situation and the redistricting, as they're calling it in California. And it specifically has to do with the congressional seats. And it's about this. This is a whole thing about trying to have a war against Donald Trump and Republicans and conservatives. And it's all exclusively being done by the Democrat supermajority left here in California. And the idea is that they can redraw the lines of these congressional districts in a way that it will make it more difficult or nearly impossible for current Republican seats or current Republican propensity congressional seats to stay that way. And they say that this is in response to Texas's redistricting. And the sad reality is that what's happening is that you're losing accurate representation. I mean, not that there was already accurate representation to begin with here in California, because our state's been gerrymandered to hell and back already. Now they're just doing an even more flagrant job of it. But I mean, the reality is that you're losing representation, and the fact is that these congressional districts are they're just not able to be accurately represented by the population centers that inhabit them, because they just cut these crazy lines through neighborhoods, communities, different counties even, where you have completely different needs, completely different lifestyles, completely different industries, and they're just not going to be able to be represented fairly.
Is it done by an independent commission or by the state legislators themselves?
Well, we do have a commission here in the state that's supposed to do that. That's how our law is written into effect. But clearly they're disregarding that, and they're having our own legislators redraw the map. They're not saying who is exactly uh the legislators are they're not saying exactly who's doing it.
Really? So actually, you do not know yourself who is redrawing the maps.
So we they won't tell us exactly, but we're supposed to have a special election that's going to cost us $250 million to determine what's going to be the outcome with this.
So, oh
So they
wow.
can redraw the map. So but it's ridiculous.
And when's the deadline for that?
Uh, they haven't even begun to figure out the date on that, but I mean they're gonna probably do their best to expedite it. I would imagine this will take place after the 2026 election, but they're gonna have a special election, so they'll tell us as soon as they have it all ready to go. When they want to do something, they make it happen pretty quickly.
So this is going to happen after 2026.
No, no guarantee on that. Like I said, it's a special election, so we don't know any information about that yet.
Okay, so what what do you think the outcome is going to be?
Well, it's really going to be on how the media spins it. I mean, clearly the Democrats are pushing this whole war against Donald Trump thing. So it's just about how they can get the population swayed. I think it could happen. I mean, there's nothing for certain anymore in this state. Everything is so crazy, but it really depends on what the situation's looking like from a federal standpoint, how people are feeling about Donald Trump more than anything. And as soon as Gavin Newsom, because he's called for the special election, so as soon as we get more information, we'll know.
So as of right now, you don't know anything.
Well, when it comes to when the election will be, no, and what the outcome could be. I mean, I'm hoping that it doesn't change. And in fact, I mean, I would like to see it go to a more fair representation, congressional seat wise, for the people in California. But I wouldn't expect that with the current leadership.
So I read that if the redistricting goes the way Newsom wants it to go, the Democrats will gain 5 more seats in Congress.
Yeah, that's the idea. So, like I mentioned, they're drawing these crazy new maps. And like, for example, Kevin Kiley's district now has this, they call it the elephant district. It's got this long protruding trunk off of it that just that just captures a large area of more Democrat voters from a higher Democrat propensity congressional district, which then takes away the Republican leaning or Republican majority in that district. So the chances that a Democrat will then replace someone like Kevin Kiley, a Republican in that seat will happen. That is their vision.
So somebody running for Congress who might be redistricted, they don't actually know where they could campaign, right?
Right, right. I mean, a lot of it seems to be somewhat similar, but I mean, there's definitely big changes. So you don't know who's going to be in whose district. I mean, I've already had my congressional district change in the last couple of years, or 4 or 5 years or so,
Mhm.
just because of population shrinkage. So
Right, but you had it done right after the census. This is like in the middle of, between the last census and this census.
right, because this redistricting has nothing to do with the growth or shrinkage of a population. This has everything to do with it's literally Democrats making a strategic play to prevent Republicans from having control over the House
Right,
government.
right. And when you go around in your campaign, what do people tell you about redistricting? Are they upset? They don't care? What's the general feeling?
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously, like we know that our voice is being, silenced as Republicans in the state by what they're doing. I mean, it's clearly it's deliberate and has the problem is this, like I said earlier, this isn't about accurate representation for the people, the communities, those industries. This is simply a war of political parties, and we, the people, are being disenfranchised by this decision. And so, again, this is just more California leadership leaving the people by the wayside and focusing on self-serving needs to keep them in power and in a position where they can continue to enrich themselves by taking advantage of the system that's in place.
So, they say that other states might do the same thing. What are you hearing?
Well, yeah, this because they're saying this all started because of Texas.
Right?
So, I mean, look, but that's the thing. If this spirals out of control, that's the biggest problem is that again, this has nothing to do with being responsible to your constituents and your people that you're representing. This has everything to do with their self-serving self-interests to keep them in power longer and in perpetuity. So, this is a huge problem. I want to see, I would like to see all of these districts redrawn, but redrawn in a more fair way that accurately represents those communities and those population demographics and those industries. And that would be a far better way to represent those people because then those congressional people that get elected can specifically talk about and focus on those needs for those communities. When you start drawing these crazy lines that cut through totally different demographics and industrial needs or whatever it may be, it just doesn't allow the Congress people to get the money into that congressional district to do more for those people as a whole.
Before this became a hot issue, would you say that people, I don't know if you would say the majority of people, but people in general, did they have an understanding that it was the state legislature that that created the districts for congressional candidates?
You know, I, the people that are politically inclined will know, but there are so many people that are just disconnected from what's actually going on in mainstream politics and the day to day that they have no idea. And again, the way look at how Gavin Newsom was talking about this, right? It's a war against Donald Trump. Like, oh, he's the least popular president ever. He's so divisive. He's all these things, right? That's the whole thing is just it's about whipping people up into a frenzy in this Trump derangement syndrome world that they've created. This has nothing to do with the people. It's just about, again, the people in power trying to keep themselves in power.
So an outsider, uh, if the people that are doing this has their way, then outsiders don't really have a chance of
Correct.
making it.
Unless you toe the party line, right? But with the Democrats, it's a hive mind, machine where you do as you're told and you follow the rules. And Gavin Newsom's posturing to be president. I mean, there's no secret, right? I mean, obviously he won't publicly say it, but it's very apparent by all his actions between the debate he had the other year with Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida,
Right.
and how he went to South Carolina a few months ago. Um, Everything he's doing is he's positioning himself to be the man. I'm the governor that stood up to that evil orange man, Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how he's trying to position himself to be the front runner for the Democrat ticket in 2028. And I mean, the Democrats realistically, they don't really have a deep bench when it comes to that election. I mean, what is it? Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania, would be someone I would consider that they would be interested in. So between Newsom and Shapiro, and I doubt Kamala will run, but you never know. I really don't see them having a deep bench to to bring a real potential candidate forward.
Okay. You make it sound pretty bleak.
Well, no, I'm not. It's not. I'm not saying it's bleak. I'm just. This is what their plan is. I mean, obviously, like we the people we're going to have a special election, so it's about informing people what's going on and voting it down. That's really that simple.
Now, as you campaign, I'm sure you've been campaigning with other Republicans. What's their feeling?
Well, I mean, obviously, we're all upset by it because I mean, it's targeted at like it said, it disenfranchises the Republicans that are here. That's the whole point. So
Mhm.
obviously, we're upset about it.
Okay.
But it's not like I'm not trying to paint a bleak picture. It's just the reality is that our leadership isn't for we the people. They're not representing we the people, and that's the biggest issue. And this is happening in California, but things like this are happening all across the country where you have a self-serving leadership that isn't interested in accurately representing and supporting the people that they're supposed to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
They're just in it for power. So whenever you see somebody who's elected to office or thinking about running for office, you should always ask and consider what would they do if they weren't elected to office.
That's a good question.
I mean, when
That's
you have people like Nancy Pelosi who's been in there for decades, or people like
mm-hmm.
Joe Biden for over damn well 50 years,
Mm-hmm.
what are these people? What would they do if they didn't lie to us on television and constantly?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. So how's your campaign going?
Really, really great. We are getting a lot of attention here. We got a lot more radio interviews and TV interviews coming up. I was just on one of the biggest podcasts out there, Adam Carolla's show, and we're just we're just moving forward. If you really want to see what's going on, the best place to find information is on my website, leozacki.com, or
Mm-hmm.
follow me on the social media at Leo S. Zacky. I've got so much content coming out every day. I just spoke up in Santa Cruz to the Republican Party up there, and they love me. I mean, I, I'm leaps and bounds ahead of the competition when it comes to how we're going to actually make this place work.
Now, do you think, as you campaign and you do interviews, do you think that the alternative media, social media, is doing better today than the mainstream media is doing?
Yes, because people have lost faith in the mainstream media. I mean, we've seen this erode over the years. I mean, between the Russiagate hoax and COVID, people have really woken up to all this nonsense. I mean, you can look at the TV and see a commercial or something, and you can be like, "This is woke nonsense. This is garbage," and you don't really get that level of detail that you would like out of the news anymore. I feel like they just talk about like four or five subjects and they just keep reiterating the same talking
Right.
points different ways. So, and having the independent media through social media where people find, people asking the real hard questions because they're not beholden to some, megacorp entity.
Mhm.
And it's all about views. I mean, you have people like Joe Rogan who get more views than multiple news outlets combined.
Right, right. So, can you sum up your campaign for us?
About my plan and all that stuff. I mean, it's common sense
Sure.
for California. It's that simple. It's about taking care of we the people first and bringing common sense solutions forward to help everybody because the foundational issues in California are impacting everybody. It's not about left or right, Democrat or Republican. It's about right versus wrong, and we're all suffering under the current leadership in the lack of proactive stances that we should be taking. It's all reactionary, right? The fires come, now we have to start doing stuff to prevent fires. After what, 25 plus people died, 23,000 acres, over 10,000 homes burned. Now we need to be doing something. It's about being taking proactive steps to prevent wildfires, to have a strong, robust water infrastructure, to give us a place that's viable for business where people want to stay. We've had a mass exodus of the population in the last 4 years. It's about, like I said, common sense solutions for everybody. It's about focusing on that and that alone.
Where have they gone?
Oh, Idaho, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, Arizona. I mean, just people want out. I mean, we're the highest tax state in the nation.
Mm.
We have our federal income tax, plus we get hit with 14.9% here in California. It's out of control. Then you have the almost 10% sales tax, give or take, depending on where you're at in the state. Could be more, could be less. And we have the highest gas prices in the country, highest utility costs. I mean, it's not an economically viable state. I mean, if you were to make $100,000 a year and live in Los Angeles, you'd probably have two roommates, and you wouldn't be living in a great part of town. It's that bad.
What?
Oh yeah, it's very expensive here. I mean, think about it. Between the 35% tax you get from the government and basically 15% from the state, that's already 50% of your money right there. And that's before you're getting taxed on expensive gasoline and expensive food and expensive water and expensive power. You
So,
can't make it.
what's the average um rent in California
28.50.
for an apartment?
Yeah, $2,850 a month.
Is that one or two bedrooms?
Uh, I think that's just a one bedroom.
How much does the average house cost?
Oh, over $1 million.
Really?
Hmm.
So it's pretty unaffordable for most people.
Right. I mean, that's why you see a lot of these people like having multiple generations living in one home. They've passed this thing for they call them ADUs, auxiliary something like that. I forget what it's called. It's ADUs. That's the thing. It's where you can build like an addition like in your yard. Really, they're relatively easy to get those permits. See that they want to do. It's all about, condensing people. That's what they want to do. So that you can then rent it out to have more dense housing in neighborhoods. That's the idea.
Wow. So final thoughts on redistricting your campaign or anything else you want to say?
Well, you got to be informed. And
I agree.
we the people really do have the power. Now, I know everybody's concerned about electronic voting and voting machines and hyperinflated voter rolls. And, you might believe that, well, my voice doesn't count. I'm just one vote. Well, if everybody feels that way, it winds up being more than one vote. It winds up being thousands and thousands of votes. And we've seen in recent years elections be separated by a handful of votes. I mean, depending on whatever position it may be. But I mean, even in the presidential race, for example, back in 2020, right? The differential in Arizona was 11,000 or something like that. You know,
Mhm.
your vote matters. Your voice matters. You have to voice your opinion, even if you think it's futile, all right? Or you have to go and do this. If you don't, it's like, you if you never nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? That's the whole concept. So I encourage everybody to get informed about who's running for all these offices, learn about the candidates, vote up and down the ballot. School board's important, county commissioners are important, know about the propositions. They like to use, interesting ways to word it, all right? That might be confusing. So it's like, yes, I would really not like to support increasing uh, this I don't know, the speed limit or whatever. I'm just saying, learn about what they're all specifically doing. It doesn't take long. We have AI. So if that helps, use that tool.
Mhm.
Get informed, make sure you vote, inspire others. And if you think that your current leadership is stupid and you could do a better job, you probably can. And I would encourage you to run for that office.
I like that. So you've been listening to Leo Zacky. I'm Cynthia Pooler. This is focused on the candidates. So if you like this show, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Leo, it was a pleasure talking with you. And
Likewise,
thank
Cynthia.
you, everybody, for listening.